least he didn't say that's my baby daddy. That would have been. Right.
It's like there's ratchet, and then there's up there.
That would have been
Ratcheticity.
Yeah.
Ratchet land.
If there's a continent for ratchet, that would have been it.
Ratchet land.
Native. Yeah, we talking about. We talking about native ratchet. Mayor ratchet. All right.
Wow. Okay. Good news. I got y'all for a little while. Bad news. I got y'all for a little while.
Yo, we getting to the front.
Good, I just got here. Come on.
He was living.
Oh, everybody moving. I guess.
Apologies. I'm going to
Yeah,
introduce
singer's
myself.
voice.
My name is
Yes.
Darren Arthur.
You
I'm a
Yes,
youth
I'm asking.
poet.
That's
I work with Urban Word NYC.
Woo!
They are
Woo!
right
Woo!
down the block from here, like on 23rd Street. That ain't down the block. You can't walk it, but you know, you got there, you get there, whatever.
The office is across the street.
The office is across the street from FIT. You just said that. I heard somebody say it. I don't know who in that vicinity said it. It was B. Thank you, B. What was I gonna say? An introduction about these pieces that I'm gonna read. It was funny because when I came inside the Dwyer Center, there we go. I was stopped by one of the receptionists at the desk. He was like, "Yo, I definitely just saw you this morning." I'm like, "Where?" Because I know I was on a train to New Rochelle to perform at Iona College. And he goes, "Going to Connecticut." And I said, "What you mean?" He said, "You was on the train." I was like, "Yeah, I was going to New Rochelle to perform at Iona College." So they had a Black History Month segment, you know, because, you know, it's February and you got to educate the people that don't know about the things they don't know. So I wrote 2 poems that I've never done before, besides then, and I'm going to do it now. And I apologize if I offend anybody. What does being Black mean to me? Being Black means world star hip hop is my fault. Being Black means I have to pass my African American history class. It means that I have to take responsibility for Gabrielle Douglas not perming her hair before attending the Olympics. It means that I have to take responsibility for Kanye West saying on national television that George Bush hates Black people. It means that I have to take responsibility for giving Maury 75% of its aired episodes. Being Black means I have to know that I shouldn't be around any crime scene. Ever. For any reason besides looking like a suspect. It means that you have to hire extra security in your store just to look at me a funny type of way when I walk in. It means that if I were a Black woman, any hair length below my bra strap has to be questioned. Is it real? Whose horse did you steal that from? Where did the track start? Being Black means I'm cool with being called homie by random people I don't know. Being Black means I most likely got stuck in the vocational class and most likely won't make it to the top of the class. It also means I have to exploit my Blackness to get a scholarship. It also means that I might not make it out of high school to exploit my Blackness anyways. Being Black and a woman means I can't take my little brother anywhere without people thinking he's my son.
Yo, yes. Oh my God.
Being Black means I need to know the words to every Biggie song, need to have watched all 3 Friday movies, Juice, Poetic Justice, Higher Learning, and Love and Basketball, and be able to quote them all on cue because heaven forbid I haven't seen any of them. Being Black means I get stopped first on the highway and get let go of last out the holding cell. Being Black means I can't say insanity made me pull the trigger. Being Black means I voted for Barack Obama, so that means every decision he makes is my fault. Being Black means I'm lazy when I ask the government for help. It means if I walk into an elevator with you alone, You should probably clutch your bag tighter than you already did. Being black means I can no longer wear a hood and hold a bag of Skittles in my pocket when I walk down the street or in a store or anywhere that allows a shoot first, ask questions later policy because I could be a robber. Being black means I need to know every single fact that has made up Black History Month. It means I must hate Caucasians. It means I must use the N-word a lot. It also means you'll say the N-word around me. If I'm black, I gotta decide what kind of black person I'm gonna be. Am I gonna be the rebel black man equipped with the fight the power button? Am I gonna be the deadbeat dad black man equipped with child support bills? Am I gonna be the can't get a good job name kind of files in the same category with Tyrone black man equipped with a job at McDonald's? Nah, maybe I'm the poetic black man. Ain't that right, my African sister Nubian queen? Maybe I'm the black man that has to blend into the dark when you turn off the light. Or maybe the one with the lowest test scores in the class with the rambunctious mother who cusses out the school faculty. Maybe that's what it means to be black. To solidify the stereotype. To always raise the voice instead of the IQ. To always catch the bullet instead of the break. To always know that Martin Luther King Jr., the man we reference so very often, takes a backseat on his birthday so I, as a black person, can talk about the latest fight on YouTube. Maybe it means that Inglewood's Urban Prep Academy for Young Men, an all-black high school in Chicago, having a 100% graduation rate, is a rare phenomenon worthy of mass media coverage. And maybe it means that the victims of Sandy Hook will forever be remembered in our hearts nationwide. That you can hear a pin drop in the media room when you turn the cameras to the black children that have passed in the Chicago streets. I looked down the line and I wondered, what took us so long to love back the black like a shade of the rainbow? As if natural hair was blasphemy and darker skin was asking to be made fun of in your third grade class when kids couldn't understand the difference between black and stupid. I wonder why we call the outcast the black sheep. Why the child in the shower couldn't scrub the tar off the skin as if they were burned for thinking about being African American, as if their hair were strands of mistakes they wish were a brighter shade of red, a blonde or brunette tone, as if the skin was the sin and the hair was the scare. I wonder why we marched ourselves into ignorance, thinking it ended with one person and thinking we didn't have to do anything else. And welfare would increase our welfare. Poverty wouldn't play God trying to strike us, and we wouldn't strike out with our children telling them your college tuition was spent putting food on the table. I wonder if our color was the reason we couldn't stop gentrification. I wonder if black and white will ever be that black and white, a shade of gray matter that doesn't matter as long as we're happy with each other. I wonder when we'll move Black History Month to a longer month on the calendar, and I wonder when people will stop thinking that entertaining that idea isn't worth it. I wonder why I find it funny that we say the color black goes with everything now, when years back the color black used to go with everything bad, when to this day it still does. I wonder when we'll stop saying it's because I'm black. I guess it's not now because I'm writing this poem, because I'm black. Why is one of the definitions of black in the Merriam-Webster dictionary dirty or soiled? Why are some of the definitions of black in the Merriam-Webster dictionary thoroughly sinister or evil, wicked, indicative of condemnation or discredit, connected with or invoking the supernatural and especially the devil? Why is it wrong to be black, I wonder? I wonder, when we'll appreciate the absence of light, because sometimes we need a little moment in the dark to realize we are not afraid of the dark, to realize sometimes we love the dark. We can love the black. Why can't we love the black? Why can't we love its shade of special? We love how it blends so well, so why can't we just love it on its own? Yes!
Wait, where's your camera?
You stop in the middle of chatting with my camera? That's not professional.
I got you though. Darren, don't worry me.
Don't worry.
Don't worry me if I sold out to you.
Okay. Yes, I say. No, I don't say. So the next few pieces that I'm going to read are pieces from a chapbook that I just wrote.
On sale. On sale.
Yes, open messages from a liquor bottle. It's on sale for $5.
You wrote a book?
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. No, it's a little small chapbook. It's got 10 poems in it, and it has a picture to juxtapose each poem. So each picture is connected to the poem in some way, shape, or form. I went and took them out for a year. I spent a year working on the pictures and like a week working on the poems. Nice. So, I got mad. All right, whatever. Call out a number between 1 and 10.
7, 8, 4.
7. I heard 7 aloud. Open letter to ink. When ink becomes blood, or a nice suit suited to the color my skin is and isn't, or a bath of parallels parallel to my stanza, or a fine line between a fine line and a thick mistake, a race, or a memory in a memoir no one remembers, when ink becomes kinky, or curly, like toes, or like strands, or like fries, or heavy, detailed, bench press, or open-ended ask, or painful acts, when ink becomes free like form, or fixed like form, or uniform, when ink becomes sound, does it sound light, or dark, or wet, or just damp? Does it sound lamp switch or flip switch? Does it sound like wait or wait? When ink becomes weight, does it weigh away at our words, or does it offset the balance? Or does it break the page, must our men broken? Or does ink become glue to hold together, to make the abstract concrete, cohesive with its adhesive, when ink becomes glue? Elmer's or Crayola? When ink becomes concrete, can we walk on words? Can they weigh us down more on our mind than on our pages? Are they what makes a book heavy? When ink becomes sand, does it help pass time? 1 hour at a time? Or 1 minute? Or 1 second? When ink becomes second, is the pen first? Where is the ink's place? Not in a pen? When ink becomes lead, does pen become pencil? Does permanent become temporary? Does a scar become a memory? When an ink becomes a scar, is it art on our bodies, or tattooed ugly, or tattooed beautiful? When ink becomes a matter of perception, do you see what I see? Do you read what I read, how I read it? Are your eyes mine? When ink becomes visible, do our dreams? Do our fears? Does our imagination? Does our story? Does our train of thought? When ink becomes a trail, do we follow it? Does it lead us to freedom? When ink becomes savior, do we keep writing ourselves saved? Do I continue to write and continue to write and continue to write until I lose myself somewhere along those lines? Or do I continue to write and continue to write and continue to write until all my wrongs disappear? When ink becomes a martyr, do we appreciate the pen that loves it? When ink becomes a stain, do we then call it a mistake? Or does its inconvenience not factor into its factory makings? Are the defaults of ink faults or beauty marks? When the ink becomes a tattoo, is that the only time we're proud to wear our stains and flaws? Is the ink just makeup? Is the ink poison, and if so, does it kill more people when on skin or on paper? When the ink is taboo, who shall speak of it first? When the ink is culture, who shall spread it like wildfire across the papyrus plants? When the ink is plant, is our thought the seed? When the ink is spilled, who will clean it? When the ink is spilled, who will leave it and let it run? When the ink is spilled, who will you blame? When the ink begets blame, who does it shower? When the ink becomes water, who will die of dehydration? Who will take the first sip? When the ink is power, who will rule, the pen or the sword? When the ink is power, when the ink is power, when the ink is power, when the ink is paint, what will it picture? When the ink is paint, who is at war? When the ink is blood, from whom was it shed? When the ink is blood, when the ink is blood, when the ink is blood, are our thoughts related? When the ink is blood, is it more precious now than ever before? When the ink is time, do we waste it? When the ink is time, do we let our pens run out? When the ink is time, when the ink is time, when the ink is ink, and the pen is pen, and the hand is yours, and the page is blank, and the time is now, what will you write?